she become that character. But I liked her. She was very beautiful and obviously very, very, very smart.
He doesn't shout, he observes. For over 6 decades, James Ivory has directed some of cinema's most elegant films, transforming literary masterpieces into visual poetry. From the drawing rooms of EM, following the passionate landscapes of Call Me By Your Name, he's built a legacy on restraint, beauty, and emotional precision. But behind every frame, there's a choice, a face, a voice, an actor who understands the weight of silence.
I want to ask you something that I have never asked before.
What, Cecil?
Ivory doesn't cast for spectacle. He casts for truth. He finds performers who can hold complexity without explaining it.
Could you tell his greatness as an actor?
Well, I felt he was one of the people, very few people,
who can convey entire worlds through a glance or a pause. He's worked with legends and discovered unknowns, building a company of players who return to him again and again. Not because of fame, but because of trust. These actors gave him more than performances. They gave him the human center his stories needed. Here are the 10 actors James Ivory holds highest, the ones who shaped his vision and why their work remains inseparable from his legacy. 10. Vanessa Redgrave. Vanessa Redgrave brought something rare to Ivory's films: strength without hardness, intelligence without coldness. In Howard's End and The White Countess, she played women who carried decades of experience in their eyes, who understood loss without performing it.
Talked me into being a writer. Dashel. You're the one who said, stick with it, kid. You got talent, kid.
Ivory trusted her with roles that required emotional depth, layered beneath perfect composure. She never broke character to show you the work. She simply existed in it. Redgrave understood Ivory's visual language. She knew when to move and when to stay still, when silence spoke louder than dialogue. Her performances weren't about big moments. They were about accumulation, the way small gestures build into something overwhelming.
Vanessa would certainly make a very good Aunt Vera, though she doesn't do the Aunt Vera that was written in the script.
Ivory has called her one of the most intelligent actors he's worked with, someone who grasped the psychology of her characters immediately. She didn't need direction, she needed space. And Ivory, who values restraint above all, gave her exactly that. Redgrave proved that elegance and power aren't opposites. 9. Hugh Grant. Before Hugh Grant became a rom-com icon, James Ivory saw something else in him.
I just didn't feel that his sympathy was equal for both the English and the Indians. I think it had to be.
Complexity hidden beneath charm, darkness lurking behind the smile. In Maurice and The Remains of the Day, Grant played men trapped by expectation, suffocated by their own inability to be honest. Ivory gave him roles that required vulnerability, and Grant delivered without sentimentality. Maurice marked Grant's breakthrough, earning him a Best Actor award at Venice. Ivory recognized his ability to play repression, to show what characters wouldn't say through what they couldn't do.
Unfortunately, they're not actually talking to each other. The divorce came through.
Grant understood period constraint, how social rules create internal prisons. His performances for Ivory weren't flashy. They were precise. He played men who smiled while drowning, who maintained appearances while collapsing inside. That tension fascinated Ivory, who built entire films around what remains unspoken. Grant proved he could carry emotional weight without breaking the surface, and Ivory never forgot that discipline. 8. Daniel Day-Lewis. Daniel Day-Lewis appeared in A Room with a View early in his career, playing the priggish Cecil Vyse with perfect aristocratic disdain.
I'm no trouble to anyone. I have the right to do as I like. It is, I dare say, an example of my decadence.
Ivory watched him transform completely, disappearing into a character most actors would have made simply unlikable. Day-Lewis made Cecil tragic. He showed the fear beneath the snobbery, the loneliness behind the judgment. That's what caught Ivory's attention. Day-Lewis understood something essential about Ivory's work. That period films aren't about costumes or accents. They're about human psychology trapped in historical context. He didn't play Victorian. He played a man struggling with emotions he'd been taught to bury. Ivory has spoken about discovering Day-Lewis through casting director Celestia Fox, recognizing immediately that he possessed something rare, Total commitment without showing the effort. Day-Lewis would go on to become one of the greatest actors of his generation. But Ivory saw it first, saw the dedication, the intelligence, the refusal to settle for surface-level choices. 7. Maggie Smith. Maggie Smith gave James Ivory wit with weight. In A Room with a View, she played the chaperone Charlotte Bartlett, with layers most actors would miss. She was funny, yes, but also deeply sad.
You are quite wonderful the way you see room for improvement wherever you look.
A woman who lived through others because her own life had passed her by. Smith understood how to play comedy and tragedy simultaneously, how to make audiences laugh while breaking their hearts.
But I liked her. She was very beautiful and obviously very, very, very smart. And
Ivory cast her because she never simplified characters. She found their contradictions and let them breathe. Charlotte could be petty and noble, selfish and self-sacrificing, all in the same scene. Smith's performance earned her a BAFTA, but more importantly, it set the tone for how Ivory's ensemble would work. Everyone served the story. No one stole scenes. Smith proved that supporting roles could be just as complex as leads. 6. James Fox. James Fox gave James Ivory something he rarely found: authentic British aristocracy without caricature. In The Remains of the Day, Fox played Lord Darlington, a man whose kindness and naivety lead him toward fascism.
They're absolute strangers whom I happened to meet in the National Gallery. They had been to Italy, a father and a son.
It's a devastating performance, all the more powerful because Fox never judges the character. He plays him as a tragic figure, not a villain. That's what Ivory wanted. Fox understood class in ways American actors couldn't quite capture. He knew how privilege creates blindness, how good intentions pave terrible roads.
powerful, imperialistic sobs with a red face that Forster was.
Ivory has called Fox's performance one of the most underrated in his entire filmography. Critics focused on Hopkins and Thompson, but Fox gave the film its moral center. He showed how decency can be dangerous when it's not paired with awareness. Fox made you understand Darlington even as you watched him fail. That complexity, that refusal to simplify history, runs through all of Ivory's best work. Fox embodied it. 5. Helena Bonham Carter. Helena Bonham Carter was 18 when James Ivory cast her in A Room with a View. She'd barely acted on film before, but Ivory saw something beyond her age. An old soul, an ability to convey internal conflict without melodrama.
Miss Teresa, Miss Catherine Allen. I met them in Italy.
Oh, Sir Harry, beware of these gentlewomen.
As Lucy Honeychurch, she played a young woman awakening to her own desires, trapped between convention and passion. Carter made it heartbreaking. Ivory returned to her for Howard's End, where she played the impulsive Margaret Schlegel with even greater depth. Carter understood Ivory's visual language, his reliance on close-ups and silence. She knew how to let emotions play across her face without pushing, how to trust the camera to find what she was feeling.
Find Helena Bonham Carter.
So she came to see us, and she was sent by.
Ivory has praised her intelligence and her willingness to take direction without ego. She never tried to dominate scenes. She simply lived in them. That naturalism, that emotional availability, made her essential to two of Ivory's greatest films. She gave him honesty when he needed it most. 4. Joanne Woodward. Joanne Woodward gave James Ivory one of his most personal films. In Mr. and Mrs. Bridge, she played a Kansas City housewife whose life slowly disappears into routine and disappointment. Woodward made her neither pathetic nor heroic, just human, just heartbreakingly real. Ivory has said this film connected to his own childhood, and Woodward understood that intimacy. She played the role with devastating understatement. Woodward earned an Oscar nomination for the performance, but what mattered more to Ivory was how she captured the quiet tragedy of ordinary life. Mrs. Bridge smiles through everything, maintaining appearances even as her world crumbles.
Remember the azaleas by the porch?
Azaleas by the porch.
Woodward showed the cost of that performance, the exhaustion of pretending. She never begged for sympathy. She simply existed as a woman whose dreams died so slowly she barely noticed. Ivory has called it one of the performances he's most proud of in his entire career. Woodward proved that small lives could carry epic emotional weight. 3. Paul Newman. Paul Newman surprised everyone in Mr. and Mrs. Bridge. Audiences expected the movie star, the icon. Instead, Ivory gave them a repressed Midwestern patriarch, cold and unreachable. Newman played against type completely, stripping away charm to reveal a man trapped by his own rigidity.
We only help him.
You'd sacrifice her life for that money? Is that what you're saying?
Ivory has called it one of Newman's greatest performances, though few people remember it that way. Newman understood what Ivory wanted. No vanity, no compromise. Mr. Bridge isn't likable. He's cruel in quiet ways, suffocating his family through control and silence. Newman played him without asking for understanding or sympathy. He just showed you the man, flawed and human. Ivory has said Newman's accent was perfect, and that Southerners praised its authenticity. But more than that, Newman gave him emotional honesty. He played a man incapable of expressing love, and made that tragedy rather than villainy. That's the kind of performance Ivory built his reputation on. Complex, restrained, devastating. 2. Anthony Hopkins. Anthony Hopkins gave James Ivory two of his finest performances. In Howard's End, he played the businessman Henry Wilcox with controlled arrogance, masking deep insecurity. In The Remains of the Day, he played the butler Stevens with repression so complete it became tragic. Hopkins understood something essential about Ivory's work. That emotion lives in what's not said, not shown. That the most powerful moments come from restraint. Stevens is Hopkins' masterpiece for Ivory, a man who sacrificed his entire life to duty, who missed love because he couldn't break his own rules.
Please leave me alone, Miss Kenton.
Why won't you show me your book?
This is my private time.
Hopkins played it without sentimentality, letting the tragedy build slowly through small moments of missed connection. Ivory has praised Hopkins' intelligence and precision, his ability to convey entire inner worlds through tiny gestures. Together, they made The Remains of the Day one of cinema's greatest examinations of regret. Hopkins gave Ivory the emotional devastation his story needed. Quietly, perfectly, unforgettable. 1. Emma Thompson. Emma Thompson sits at the top because she gave James Ivory everything. Intelligence, warmth, complexity, restraint. In Howard's End, she played Margaret Schlegel with such depth that she won the Oscar. In The Remains of the Day, she played the housekeeper Miss Kenton with heartbreaking dignity.
Speak on a much more serious matter than the house.
Thompson understood Ivory's visual poetry better than anyone. She knew when to speak and when to let silence do the work. Ivory has called Thompson one of the most complete actors he's ever worked with. She brought literary intelligence to her roles, understanding the novels they came from, and honoring them without being trapped by them. She made period characters feel modern and timeless simultaneously. Thompson never simplified. She played contradiction, showing strength and vulnerability, confidence and doubt, all coexisting naturally. For Ivory, who built his career on emotional complexity told through restraint, Thompson was the perfect collaborator. She gave him performances that will define his legacy. That's why she comes first. James Ivory doesn't talk about stars. He talks about actors who understand. These 10 gave him more than performances. They gave him truth told through silence, emotion conveyed through stillness. From Thompson's intelligence to Hopkins' restraint, each one understood that great acting lives in what you don't do as much as what you do. They made his vision real. Who's your favorite on the list? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank you for watching and subscribing for more studio insights.